defense. And everything Miami does runs through their young guard. There's Cam McGusty missing, and Rodney Miller's there to tip it home.
Nice little tip by Miller on the interior. Got good post position.
My name is Charles Barton. I'm an American living in Sweden, and most of my adult life I've been involved in professional basketball, either as a player or as a coach. And like most places around Europe, around the world, the topic of the day is multiculturalism, assimilation, integration, and above all, racism. And here in Sweden, we've had a discussion in the last month and a half, 2 months, about racism within basketball in particular. And people ask me, why, Charles, why are you not more involved in this? Why aren't you saying more publicly? And honestly, I have a problem with communicating or talking about other people's opinions or feelings or experiences. So I thought I'll do like this. I'll present my own life in basketball in Europe and in Sweden, and I'll just tell my story. And then maybe you can get something from it, and maybe you won't. But at least it'll be organic, it'll be authentic. We'll start from the beginning. In the early 70s, I came from the United States to have my first professional basketball contract. I went to Geneva, Switzerland. And I was thinking, okay, my biggest issue will be the difference in the basketball. And me being the way I was, arrogant, naive, I didn't even study about Geneva. I didn't even take time to see what language they spoke, what culture it was like. I thought, I'll just show up and I'll be me. I'll play basketball and everything will take care of itself. Well, the basketball, which I had some concerns about, was no issue at all. It was running, jumping, passing, shooting, the normal stuff. It was more or less exactly the way it was in America, except my teammates couldn't speak English. The real issue was cultural shock. Keep in mind, there was no internet, there were no movies, there was no TV. The food was different, the entertainment was different, the social life was different, and they spoke another language, French. So this was the big adjustment for me, not the basketball. I didn't have a car. I had to take public transportation. That's how I got around. So I had to learn how to do that. If I was going to a restaurant, and I had a couple restaurants where I was allowed to go, I had to learn how to read the menu and order from the menu in another language. So this was a real shock for me. But this was not the biggest shock. The biggest shock was that I was not who I thought I was. Because before I got there, I was used to people coming to me. I never had to reach out to anybody else. I was a football star, the basketball star, everybody wanted to be around me. Now people didn't care about me. The team wasn't that popular. I wasn't popular. So if I was going to have a social life, I was going to be forced to learn another language, actually two, because I had to speak some German also, learn how to assimilate, integrate, and be part of another society. And I had to come with something besides my sport if I was going to have a social life. My teammate refused. He did not understand why they couldn't speak English. And I tried to tell him, they don't need to speak English. We need to speak French. This guy was a very brilliant basketball player, I think far superior to me, but he got worse and worse and worse and worse. And eventually they sent him home. He wasn't performing anymore. In my case, I got better and better and better because I just got acclimated to another culture, another society.
make sure that he steps up and performs on the perimeter. Only 23 years of age, has a very bright career ahead of him.
This was quite a shock, as I said in the beginning, for me to, not know anybody, not know anything, have to learn new habits, new ways of eating, socializing and stuff like that, and really new ways to open up myself. I had to present something else besides sports star. And this is when I first got my feeling about how assimilation could be for a foreigner. I was a foreigner for the first time. When I come from the United States, I'm not a foreigner there. I'm a foreigner here. These were lessons that I learned which would help me later in my life, because as the season went on, I went to Monaco, I went down to Munich and Milano, and I saw different places. Everything was fantastic, new, different, and stuff like that. But when I went home, I thought, okay, I'll come back for a visit, but now I'm going to go home to live. And what I didn't realize at the time was I was going home to the place where I was going to visit, and the place where I was going to live was where I was coming from, Europe, because I never went back to America to live. I didn't know that then. I thought I was going back, finish my studies. I would never come to Europe again except as a visitor. Little did I know the next 40 years, me just living in all over the place in Europe. The Europe that I came to does not exist now. The Sweden that I came to does not exist now. Things always evolve. The question is, can you evolve with them? I asked the guy that gave me this first job, his name was Larry Jones, fantastic person, huge basketball star in the ABA, NBA in America. Why did you choose me of all the players? Because he knew tons of players better than me. I was average, believe me. And he said, you had one skill, shooting, that I thought you could do forever. And I knew that you could assimilate and integrate into different societies. This is why he chose me for that job in Geneva. And those two things have helped me enormously along the way. This is how I ended up living here. Now I've worked in Sweden, Denmark, Poland, Cyprus, Germany, Israel, Greece, Italy. I've also visited Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Korea. All of these skills came, they were very important for me, for my survival, more or less. And I want to feel good too. I don't want to just be somewhere and be outside of the society. And I am going to speak about my experiences, because I have experienced racism all over the place. Because I think it's necessary to know where you came from to, in the end, know where you are. And this was how I started in Europe. They asked me, well, how did you develop this, this image of yourself? But the image of yourself is just the stories you tell yourself about yourself. And this is how I became who I am. I'm sharing with you now what has happened to me. Some things will be more private than others. Some I have never said publicly. And they'll be quite interesting. And if you can get something from it, good. Like I said, I'm not very good at communicating and critiquing what other people have gone through. I only know what I've gone through. So I hope you tune in to part 2. It should be interesting. Thank you very much.